Good morning, gentlemen. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Sorry, I know you guys are probably a little disappointed. I don't have a co-host today. I'm going to work for Christmas week. That's kind of what we're going to shoot for. Thanksgiving was a little bit. It was the first time at the new house for my grandma, and I think Dad wanted things to shut down quickly there, and he just didn't. He didn't have the time to put the effort in for the podcast this week. But we're going to work on Christmas for that. I do think that'd be a fun one to do. I think some questions we can ask him would be fun. But for this week's Memory Lane Corner, actually kind of coincides with a text I received earlier today with Dolan bumping into Harry Hogan there at an AAU tournament. We're going to go back to 1992. 91, 92, something like that. Harry Hogan, after we went 12-0 in 7th grade basketball, and I played approximately 6 minutes every game because we had a very structured substitution pattern. We'd play the starters, and then we'd play the entire second string, the entire second quarter, and then just play the starters the rest of the game, and then we'd win. I mean, we went 12-0, so I guess I can't argue with him. But he did have a father-son basketball game at the end of the season, which was very entertaining. Now, as we get older, things tend to blur, but when I was 12 years old, my dad was only 32 and hadn't had knee surgery yet and was still a very, very athletic man. Big guy, 6'6", he probably weighed about 215 solid pounds at that time. And my dad doesn't take things lightly, so playing against a bunch of 12-year-olds really didn't discourage him from dominating a basketball game. And I recall him just setting hard screens on Brent Hayes and Pat Cruzmano and, Tim Dolan just getting in the ball on the pick and roll and Dad going up and just, layup after layup after layup until it got boring. He was a big dude and he had a lot of fun that day. And if we bring that up at any point around my dad, he gets a big grin on his face. He definitely got the best of the 7th graders that day. Pistons corner, again, a little bit short. The Pistons suck. They're going nowhere, and I hate to say it. The one positive, though, is that, Blake Griffin is back. And not saying that's positive that it's going to actually translate to wins, but, his first few games back definitely looked still hampered from his knee surgery. Last few games, he's actually looked significantly better. So between Blake and Andre, we're just trying to build that trade value up, and hopefully we'll be able to, make a trade with Blake and dump that contract. And definitely, Andre, win, lose, or draw, he's going to be gone after this season. But, the guy puts up huge numbers. He could fit in on, some other team. Maybe we get a little mid-season value out of him at the trade deadline and pick up a draft pick or something for Andre Drummond. That'd be great. And then on to the picks. We're going to actually, the picks segment, probably going to be a little bit longer this week. Definitely the most time I've put into researching games, even though I know it probably doesn't matter for me, but hey, there's 5 weeks left to go. I go on some incredible run. It'll be a great story, and whatever. We'll see what happens. But let's move out to New York, where the New York Giants are hosting the Green Bay Packers. Packers laying 6.5 big points. That line opened at 7, down to 6.5. We have 88% of the bets, 76% of the money on the Packers. And really, there's just a couple key matchups we want to look at here. That Packers passing offense versus that terrible New York Giants secondary is definitely where the Packers are going to try and make hay. But really, is Aaron Rodgers? He's still elite. I know he is. I can't say he's not elite, but really, the last 3 or 4 games, we're looking at something like 150 passing yards per game, and just not vintage Aaron Rodgers. We're not making the plays we need to make with Rodgers. And then I look at the Barkley versus the Pack run defense. The Packers run defense is not solid. So if that combined with the fact that this game is going to be played in the rain, the snow, the sleet, it's going to be some nasty weather out in New York. Could the Giants put together a game plan where they feature Saquon Barkley and really control the clock? Yeah, they could. Will they? I don't know. I don't have enough faith to go with it myself. And I really feel like the value is lost here, on the Giants side at 6.5. I think I'd like the Giants a lot more at that threshold of 7.5. So I just stay away. But I guess if I had to lean there, I'd go ahead and lean Giants, thinking that Vegas knows something that I don't know, seeing that there's so much action on the Packers. Let's go down to Carolina, where the Panthers are hosting the Washington Redskins, coming off their big win against the Detroit Lions last week. This line's moved from 9 up to 10 appropriately with 65% of the bets, 75% of the money on the Carolina Panthers. You know, if we wanted to look for a Redskins angle, you know, the Panthers, you know, maybe a little bit more beat up than the Redskins. You got Gerald McCoy out on the defensive line for the Panthers this weekend. But you go to the other side of the ball, and it's Christian McCaffrey all day, all night. And, you know, I mean, the Redskins gave up 100 yards to Bo Scarborough last week and, you know, 140 yards to Devin Singletary the week before. So, I mean, what is McCaffrey going to be capable of doing? Do they really care about even game planning? I mean, I think the Redskins, now that they have their win, do they have 2 wins? I don't know, 1 or 2 wins, whatever they have. But, I mean, they're definitely in the tank fest. And, you know, Dwayne Haskins is nothing special. He didn't show me anything last week. He hasn't shown me anything this season. I think that if I had to lean here, I'd lean Panthers. It's a game I was close to taking at -10. Big number, though, and I lay off it. You know, I think definitely Redskins back to tank mode. Full tank mode is going to happen. Let's go out to Indianapolis, where those gritty, grimy Colts. My Colts are laying 2.5 points. This line has moved from Colts laying 3.5 down to 1.5. 52% of the bet, 63% of the money on the Tennessee Titans. And really, it's just health. It's just health. I think if these teams were both fully healthy, this line would be a lot larger, and I have a lot more confidence in the Colts. But I mean, the Colts are going to be without their best running back and their best wide receiver. Mack out, T.Y. Hilton out, and Jacoby Brissett really just not healthy. I mean, he's come back and played, but I just don't see him as he's not healthy. He doesn't look the same as he did prior to the knee injury, and that makes me just kind of fade away from this game. I think if I was going to go somewhere here, I'd go Tennessee here, take my 2.5 points, and you know, I'll move on. Let's go down to Kansas City, where very interesting game. Oh no, let's not do that one. Let's not do that one. Yeah, we'll do that one. Let's do that one. My pick's already in. This is definitely one I wanted to take, and I kind of screwed up there. But, oh well, maybe it'll work out for me. We have the Raiders catching 8.5, or well, we're getting 10 points. This line moved from 8.5 up to 10.5, with 50% of the bets on Kansas City, 59% of the money on the Chiefs. And I really think the biggest matchup in this game, due to the weather's going to be terrible in Kansas City, Missouri tomorrow. We're looking at like mid-30s with 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So, I mean, that passing game is definitely going to be affected by that for the Chiefs. And we're looking at Josh Jacobs versus Kansas City defense. That Kansas City run defense has been terrible all season, and this is a very, I could see a Marlon Mack type game, Indianapolis versus KC, you know, week 4 on Monday night or Sunday night football with the Raiders. Raiders looking in a bounce back situation here. Definitely just got their teeth kicked in by the Jets last week. So I mean, and the Raiders are in serious playoff contention. So I think the Raiders could get right here. And I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders won this game. I mean, I'd be surprised, but definitely would be surprised if it was a total KC blowout here. So I'm going to go ahead and I would go ahead and lean Raiders there. Let's go out to the desert where the Arizona Cardinals are hosting the LA Rams, and this line has been a solid 3, hasn't moved off the 3. 60% of the bets, 53% of the money on the Cardinals, and this is a give-up spot for the Rams. I mean, honestly, if you're just going to mail it in, this is where you mail it in. But if you look at that NFC playoff picture, really, I mean, the teams are pretty much set, in my opinion. You're going to have Green Bay, Minnesota, Seattle, San Francisco, the Saints, and either Philadelphia or Dallas. And so we're just playing for seeding, and the Rams are kind of out of it. I mean, they'd have to go on a serious run to get back into this race. I mean, they might have an opportunity to do so, but, I mean, really, this is a give-up spot. And so I'm very interested to see what type of coach McVay is coming off the short week. Can he get these guys motivated to go down to Arizona and get a win? I don't know if I have faith in it. I watched that Monday Night Football game. I know the Ravens are on fire, but, I mean, come on. The Rams at the Cardinals, if we were looking at this line 4 or 5 weeks ago, this would have been a 7-8 point spread. We're down to 3 here. So maybe the Rams are a little undervalued there. I guess I'd lean the Rams if I had to go anywhere there. Let's go out to the Mile High City where the Denver Broncos are hosting the Los Angeles Chargers. This line, 1.5 up to 3 with a bunch of money on the Chargers. 80% of the bet, 71% of the money on the Chargers. Matchups I'd like to look at in this game is like Philip Lindsay versus that Chargers defense. Philip Lindsay went for 147 yards and a touchdown in the previous matchup. So, I mean, I know with the quarterback trouble out there in Denver, they're going to be looking to pound the rock with Lindsey and have Lindsey get quite a few touches, and he seems to really have taken control of that backfield. So I would look for Phillip Lindsay to have a big day. And is this a Phillip Rivers bounce-back game? I mean, I know that the last time we saw Phillip Rivers, he's throwing an interception, trying to drive and beat the Chiefs in Mexico. And, then the whole, the whole week after that is Phillip Rivers just too old, and, is it time for him to hang it up and stuff like that? And, I've been a Phil Rivers fan my entire life, and I don't see that guy going out that way. I think he's got a big game in him here and there, and I think this is a spot where, this is why I'm conflicted and I can't take this game, because I like Denver at home in general, but this could just be one of those Phillip Rivers games where he just says fuck you to everybody else and throws for 400 yards. And the weather there's going to be beautiful tomorrow in Denver. One of the few games that we actually have decent weather in tomorrow. And, Phil could just go off and go crazy tomorrow and have a lot of fun. So I'll just stay away and hope that Phillip Rivers has a fun day and I get to, cheer on one of my favorite quarterbacks of all times. Let's go out to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the Steelers are getting 2 points. 2 points against the Browns. This line, opened at 3, down to 2, because of 68% of bets, 75% of the money on the Browns. And really, I mean, if I was looking at the rosters and breaking down health and things like that, all signs point to Cleveland until I get to the coaching matchup. And I have Mike Tomlin versus Freddie Soup Kitchens in a revenge game. This is 2 weeks after the Myles Garrett beating Mason Rudolph over the head with a helmet and all that stuff, and I have to stay away because my brain says Cleveland has the better weapons. We're healthy on the offensive side of the ball. We have 2 really good running backs for the Browns that they play at the same time, and I think they found something there where they can have Hunt and Chubb on the field at the same time. The Steelers are beat up. James Conner not playing. Juju probably not playing. But the coaching matchup here just makes me stay away, and I would. I guess I'd lean Cleveland there if I had to, but I can't. Can't do that. Can't stomach it. Monday Night Football, we have the Seahawks hosting the Minnesota Vikings, and this has been a solid 3-point spread the entire week. We have 39% of the bets, 55% of the money, though, on the Vikings. That means that big money's coming in on the Vikings. And really, I just kind of got fascinated. I just looked, because I bag on Kirk Cousins a lot, and, because I think, for rightfully so, he wins a lot of BS games, and then, when the big light's on him, he seems to lose games, but he's picked up a win or two this year. They've been impressive. And I looked at his stats, because I'm a Russell Wilson guy, and Cousins and Russell Wilson's stats are, eerily similar. Cousins has nearly 2,800 passing yards with 21 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on the year. Russ has just over 2,900 passing yards with 24 touchdowns and 3 interceptions on the year. So, really, I guess if you just laid those stats in front of me, I wouldn't be able to tell the two apart. But generally, when I watch, I see Russell Wilson winning games and Kirk Cousins, throughout his career throwing away games. But maybe he's turned the page. So it's an interesting spot there. I'd want to go Seattle there, but I saw those numbers, and maybe they're getting right. I don't know. But both these teams are going to want this game, need this game. It should be a great game on Monday Night Football. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Let's move on to the games that I do pick. Let's go out to Baltimore, Maryland, where the Ravens are hosting the Niners. This line went from 4.5 up to 5.5 due to 61% of bets, 68% of the money on the Baltimore Ravens. The Niners are 10-1, right? This has got to be the largest underdog to be 10-1 after 12 weeks in the NFL season. There's going to be heavy rain in Baltimore tomorrow. And both these teams like to run, so I can see this game being a very quick game as far as this could be a game that's over well before 4 p.m. tomorrow. Just a lot of running. It does make me think that, Lamar should still be Lamar, but I just think Baltimore's overvalued after that blowout win against the Rams, where the Rams just laid down, let the Ravens score on the first 6 possessions. They scored touchdowns on the first 6 possessions. So I think Baltimore, the public is overvaluing just a little bit here. San Francisco, a little bit undervalued because we don't have the flash and appeal, but we've got a great defense. You've got a defensive player of the year candidate on the San Francisco side, Bosa. So I'm going to go ahead here and say that San Francisco is able to keep this game close in a rainy, wet game and give me the Niners plus the 5.5. Let's Let's go down to Miami, Florida, where the Dolphins are hosting the Eagles. That line has moved from 7.5 up to 10 points. 59% of the bets, 61% of the money on the Eagles, rightfully so. Philadelphia needs this game. They need this game, and I think they're not going to fool around. Now, I know that there's been problems in that passing attack, and Carson Wentz doesn't look right. Tell you what, you want to get right? Play the Dolphins. And I look for Miles Sanders to have a huge game. The linebackers for the Dolphins are the worst in the league, and they're especially poor at defending running backs catching passes. So Miles Sanders could have a stat line like, 15 carries for 80 yards, but, 7 catches for another 90, 100 yards and a couple scores. And I see this game being over quickly. I really like the Eagles here. I don't mind laying the 10 at all. Let's go to Jacksonville, Florida, where the Jaguars are hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers laying 1.5 points due to heavy. I mean, not due to it. I mean, there's heavy action on the Buccaneers. But the interesting thing is that this line opened at 4. It's down to 1.5, despite 75% of the bets, 91% of the money on the Bucs. So we got some reverse line movement here. So I'm going to go Jags there at home and get the 1.5. Tampa Bay, one of the worst passing defenses in the league. Not that Jacksonville's going to light you on fire, trust me, but I look for the Jags to try and have a balanced attack here and make the play-action pass work. If Fournette can keep Tampa Bay's defense honest, I think that Jacksonville could really make some hay there with DJ Chark out on the outside. And really, Tampa Bay, they're a turnover machine. And I think they're kind of the darlings. I think they get a lot of public action because of their fantasy prowess. Everybody loves the Buccaneers because of Godwin and Evans and, even Jameis Winston. All very, very solid fantasy football players. But, really, we're not talking about a team that's in playoff contention. We're not. So give me the Jags in a boring play there at home. Let's go out to Cincinnati, Ohio, where the New York Jets are laying 3 points against the Cincinnati Bengals. This line has moved from 3.5 down to 3. It's 78% of the bets, 75% of the money on the Jets. That Jets passing offense actually has looked, somewhat respectable over the last few weeks, with Anderson, Crowder, Demaryius Thomas even get a little bit of love. Sam Darnold isn't seeing ghosts anymore because he's not playing the Patriots. But I'm betting on Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton making his return this week. And there's just got to be a reason. This must be the game on the schedule that the Bengals think they can win. And they don't want to go 0-16. They don't. Now, they want the number 1 pick, but 1-15 is just fine for them. So I see 2 things. They don't want to go 0-16, and Andy Dalton's going to be playing for a job for next season. So I think you're going to get your best effort of the season out of the Bengals this week. And give me the Bengals. Give me the Bengals outright on the money line there at home. Let's go to Houston, Texas, where I'm going to make my Joe Contrarian play and just take the Texans +3 over the Patriots, laying 3. This line opened at 4.5, down to 3. 76% of the bets, 63% of the money on the Patriots. And I guess, if I'm going to make my argument for the Texans here, it's going to be this. That Pats offense really just hasn't looked that great. They're beat up. They don't have the weapons we're used to. James White doesn't look right. Edelman doesn't look right. So I think there's definitely, the Patriots are always overvalued. But maybe not. They're rightfully, they cover like 60% of the time anyways. But, Houston, they're healthy, coming off a bye. And really, it's a bounce-back game for the Texans. They just got rattled last time they were out on the field by the Ravens. And, this is a team that's in serious playoff contention, probably going to win that division. And it's just a get-right game for them. And it's at home. It's Sunday Night Football. That crowd should be going crazy. You've got the evil empire in town. So, come on, Texans, give me some. Hopefully Bill O'Brien won't get out of the way. And, hopefully he will get out of the way. And, that coaching matchup bothers me. And I'm definitely taking this game just to try and make up, an extra point on Joe. But I think there's a serious possibility the Texans take care of business and win a home game there and, solidify themselves as the leaders of the AFC South. Gents, that's all I got. Again, happy Thanksgiving, and I can't wait to see you guys soon. Until next week.